experts who are with me down in New York, former Republican Congresswoman Nan Hayworth. We've got Democratic strategist, the guy with the great tie, Scott Levenson, and GOP fundraiser Noel Nickpour. Noel, in your gut, what do you think we'll hear?
Well, we never know with Trump. When he originally was going to have a conference on the shutdown, I thought he was going to declare an emergency and fund the wall. I think
something keeps holding him back.
Well, I think that maybe one of his strategies is the fact that he let this play out for Democrats. I think that he let them, kind of play this out to where they were not going to compromise and they weren't going to do anything that had the word wall attached to it. So maybe now he's going to say, at the end of this, I've given an X amount, the shutdown's gone on too long, this is a bad price to pay with our workers, but now they have forced me into my back's against the wall, I'm going to have to declare an emergency. I just can't imagine what he's going to be saying to let us know where we are in the shutdown. We all know where we are. What
do you think, Scott?
I'm a big believer in keeping hope alive, and it's clear that the American people are ready for us to go back to work. So it would be nice if he came up, acted presidential, ended the shutdown, and then I think Noel's point is right. It's time for a comprehensive look at immigration. We have 11 million people here undocumented. We have to find a path to citizenship for these folks. And if you watch today's New York Post, the wall is clearly not the answer if people are
Well, let me ask you about that. And then one of the ideas being bandied about is if you get comprehensive, each side has to then show a willingness to give what the other side wants, because the other side has been open to each other's views of the past, whether it's Democrats who voted for wall funding when Barack Obama was president, or Republicans who were open to some sort of DACA reform. Is that what he needs to do? And then do both sides need to jump off the cliff together?
Yes, ideally both sides should jump off the cliff together. The atmosphere
so many Americans would welcome that. I guess.
Wouldn't they, Neil? Yes,
right.
It's so
Goodbye.
But, I will say, I'm not wishing any particular individual jump off. But, no, I think the president would show enormous leadership, and he does have an opportunity on DACA, because what held back DACA in many ways in the previous House of Representatives was that there was a significant minority, about 36 or so Republicans from districts that simply wouldn't accept.
Wouldn't budge.
Right. An amnesty of any form. That's gone now because, of course, we have a Democratic majority in the House. So there really is an opportunity for the president to say, look, we need to get this done, but clearly Democrats have supported funding for fiscal barriers, so let's acknowledge that. Let's provide
I don't think
some
either side envisioned this.
Right?
I don't think either side envisioned that the TSA would be in this kind of predicament.
No.
People would have to get to the airports 3 hours early. It's just grown out of control, right?
Well,
and it starts with doing business when you're holding a gun to the other party's head.
Well, but
when you start with the shutdown, at least people know where to go. It's not how you run government.
But I think Trump has more to lose than anyone else, because he won in his primary. He won against a lot of individuals on immigration, on Build That Wall. And so if he caves, he has a lot to lose with his base versus the
But if he
Democrats.
caves, whatever you want to call it, I mean, couldn't you make the argument that there are some Democrats would be opposed to that because at least the government shutdown ends and he looks like a statesman? And they don't want to give him that either.
The one thing that separates campaigning from governing is you can't always just dig your heels in and say, I promised this to my base, I need this, without being willing to deal with the sausage making. And to Noel's point, he has more to lose by giving up.
And Scott,
then it's an exercise of ego.
But do you think that Nancy Pelosi overplayed her hand on this?
I do think that nobody in this country thinks this is the best our elected officials have in them.
Because I'm now seeing, while it still errs on the side of blaming Republicans for this, it's almost getting to be a pox on both your houses. We hate both you guys.
Which is why I think it has to start with, let's end the shutdown, let's put the country back to work, and let's lock ourselves in a room, have a comprehensive view on immigration.
But I don't think the president's going to propose stopping the shutdown or ending the shutdown without making one further case for funding the fiscal barriers.
But is either side really going to realistically bend when their bases are so adamant?
Well, I think they're both. they're both recognizing public pressure. They're both recognizing public opinion. And Nancy Pelosi's risk is that she's starting to look like the same old Nancy Pelosi that in a good couple of dozen Democratic districts.
But I've heard a lot of Republicans say, looking at the
campaign
markets
against,
continue to
basically.
dance through this, that in the greater scheme of things, this is not affecting America.
But it does feel after today the myth of this crisis on our southern border as opposed to a comprehensive look at immigration is out of the bag.
But of course, we've got another caravan coming. So
Nobody
But
wins
no one's
until we get
hiding
these
under their
workers back
desks
to
on the
work.
streets of Manhattan
And we do
worried
something about
the
immigration. This should be, somebody should come together. This is really stupid.
Everybody should.
We have
Everybody should.
immigration that we need to have reformed, and we have workers that need to get back to work. My God, we've got, you know.
This is why let's
that's
not.
why I want to see
But
the
then-
president say, let's get
Okay.
together,
With all due
speak
respect
to
to Dan,
Pelosi.
but you can't talk about the caravan coming. Come on.
We could do
It's
it.
not
It's
it's
a news hook.
disingegenuous.
I'm just saying it's a news
It's
hook.
coming!
Let's get
Bait.
together.
It's good bait.
Let's
All right.
get together. Let's provide
All right.
DACA citizenship.
Peace and love!
Get them all.
Peace and love.
Thank you.
All right, we have a lot more coming up.